As of right now, because the Black Siren, in terms of I'm not doing as much fight training as I was, season 4 and season 3, but I still love it, and it's always fun when, David Ramsey or I are on set. We do all these drills together. It's cool. It's awesome.
Awesome. We have another question here.
Hello. I just want to know, what's your favorite memory on the set of Arrow?
Favorite memory? Maybe let's just say this past season. Make it easier. Off the top of your head.
Well, I have to say it's not going to be this past season, but I do have a favorite memory. It's just ridiculous every time I think about it. So it was during season 3, it was either season 2 or 3. My character, as you know, was quite emotional, always crying. When I was on set, I would try and stay in it when I had a heavy emotional day. And I felt so bad even for some of my cast members because it wasn't necessarily pleasant. I kept to myself. I was sort of in a corner, and they were like, "Are you okay?" They didn't, And then once we got to know each other, they learned that this is just sort of part of my craft. And I was on set one day shooting with Steven, and I was sitting there, and for whatever reason, I looked at my phone, and there's a picture sent to me from John Barrowman, and I've told this story before, where he's in my trailer, a picture of him taking a selfie with his bare ass, like this, on the refrigerator, my couch, the bed, wherever it was, these ridiculous photos, pulling this prank. I cannot stop laughing. I'm supposed to be, as I said, staying in it. I show it to Steven. Steven's like, "Oh, God." He's like, "I don't want to see that." Meanwhile, just so you guys have context, John Barrowman wasn't even in the episode. I didn't even know he was in Vancouver. So I was like, "What are you doing?" But it was nice having him around. He's hilarious, and it was fun. We needed that sort of lightness that he brought to our set in our cast. And so I definitely think, shooting with John Barrowman, he's hilarious, he's ridiculous, and I love him to death. So yeah, that was definitely a fun memory for me.
Awesome. I think I have another fan question here.
Hey Katie, big fan. I just want to know, do you regret their decision to remove Black Canary from the show? And do you think she should come back?
I can't hear you very well.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Do you think that there's a possibility Black Canary could come back, either via Barry or the Wave Rider? And what did you think of the initial decision to remove her from the show?
Can you repeat that? I'm so sorry.
What is your thoughts on Black Canary making a comeback on the show? And what were your thoughts on her leaving?
Got it. I don't know in terms of if you will see me or Black Canary, my version, Laurel Lance, Black Canary. Again, I think it would be cool in some way if they could implement it. I don't know, movie magic, but Black Canary, Black Siren, and maybe even Sarah in an episode fighting against you. I have no idea. I think it would be really cool to see that. And the second part of your question, how did I feel about her leaving? Dude, I was sad. I was so sad. It was...
Who else was sad?
Yeah, it was sad. And these things happen. It's life. I did not expect it. I don't think any of us expected it, because the whole season, the cast was like, "Oh, who's in the grave?" And I was like, "You guys, it's television. None of us are in the grave. Come on." And they were like, "Oh, maybe it's me, maybe it's me." And then, of course, lo and behold, I get a phone call, and it was me in the grave. And I was like, "Oh, okay, wow." I was sad, but for whatever reason, I knew in my gut that it wasn't over yet. And so it was awesome that they brought me back the way that they did on Flash. I'm very happy
they brought you back. And I have time for maybe one more question.
Hi, do you have a favorite line or most memorable line that Laurel has said throughout the show?
A favorite line or a favorite moment that Laurel had?
Yes, I wrote it today. I'm the justice you can't run from.
I'm the justice you can't run from.
Oh yes, it's pretty awesome.
Thank you guys. Let's see, we have one more question. One more question? Come up here.
So I have a little sister myself, and I was curious, what were your feelings during season 1 and 3 when Sarah died? What were your feelings there, and how did you act that out?
That's a great question. I have 2 sisters myself. I'm very close with, so it was pretty easy for me to tap into that. Katie Lotz, the chemistry that we have is wonderful, and us working together, she's wonderful to work with. I love when I have stuff with her. Paul Blackthorne, the same. So, having done backstory and the relationship and the dynamic between Sarah and Laurel, and giving it as much detail, using my imagination, coming up with backstory and creating it, and then putting yourself in the moment and living in the moment and true to what's unfolding in front of you. It was all very real. Those it's hard. And I imagine, obviously at times I would imagine it if it were my sister, and so I could relate in some aspect, if that answers your question. Yes? Okay, good.
What do you wish that you could tell your fans about working on Arrow that they may not know? About your character, about working on set? Is there anything that you feel like you wish you could tell them?
Yes, but I can't tell them.
Oh.
I can't say it, but yes, there's a lot I wish I could tell you. Go on for days.
Tried to get it, it didn't work. All right, cool. Well, we have just pretty much this is it for the interview. We have maybe one more question, and I wanted to personally ask, what is your all-time favorite project that you've worked on so far?
Definitely Arrow.
Arrow?
Yes. I also did this movie with Tate Donovan recently and Matthew Lillard called Grace, which was fantastic to shoot. Really difficult, but it'll be coming out. It'll be coming out soon, so be on the lookout for that. And I did this movie called The Scribbler. It was based off a graphic novel, and I played a girl who had multiple personality disorder. It was sort of a dark thriller, sci-fi, comic book-esque, but it was cool. It was fun because I got to sort of create 7 different characters in one, if that makes sense. So the whole transitioning and learning about it, and it was tough, but I like the challenge. Like I said,
did you create 7 different characters, or did you kind of have a through line for that Scribbler character?
What I did is I created 7 different backstories for 7 different characters, and then implemented them all into one. So I would, after doing script analysis, going through, seeing which transition as to what alter sort of came out based off of the research that I did. It was pretty. I mean, the research I did was very in depth. I actually sat down with somebody who has multiple personality disorder, and sort of just because I wanted to make it as real as possible, and obviously give it as much justice to it as possible. And it was really cool learning experience, and I'm glad I did it.
Very cool. Thank you so much for coming out to spend time with us here.
Thank
Everyone
you.
give a round of applause for Katie.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Awesome. Bye.
Yeah.